I think it's upon us. I wish it was. I wish it started in June. How's that? So I had some more time with these young guys. But I think we're excited about getting closer to that season. We actually the first official day of practice, as far as the NC2A is concerned, when you're going from the mode of working with individuals and working in small groups to working with your whole team, begins tomorrow. So we're excited about that, and we got a lot of new faces, so it's going to be a very interesting early season. I'm going to get a chance to look at a lot of players.
Yeah, how different is it this year? Last year you had so many guys coming back and the expectations were so high. How different is it this year with so many new faces and having to fill so many key roles?
Well, when you have that security of putting the lineup in, and it's Peterson, Conforto, Davis, Kais for 3 years, those guys came in here and played, and they played for a long time. And, the one thing about that is that we don't have a lot of experience coming back. Those guys were pretty special players. And the people that we lost have had a huge impact on our program. I thought that we were as good as anybody in the country last year. Obviously didn't finish the way we wanted to finish. That was disappointing. And, we really have a young club. And I think this is probably the last time that I'm going to allow myself to talk about that, because I think that that's a pretty good excuse. And so I've told our players that that's not going to be something that we're going to hang our hat on, and that we'll be young in the fall, and then there'll be no more excuses. We are what we are, and that is we got a lot of first-year players, and they're going to play. And so people like Andrew Moore and Jeffrey Hendricks, those guys are really, really going to have to provide us with some leadership.
Along those lines, Pat, it just seemed peculiar when I look at the rankings and stuff. Where's Oregon State? You're always up there. Does any of that even matter? Because I know, like in 2017, I think the end of the year probably wasn't ranked, won a national championship. So if you put any stock into that preseason stuff? Well,
I mean, it's not from the standpoint of how I think we're going to play, but we certainly, if you look at who we lost and who we're going to play, I understand us not being ranked in the top 25. I certainly do. We'd like to change that, and that's going to be up to the players and the coaching staff to do everything we can to become a better club than we were in the fall, and be a better club next Thursday than we are this Thursday. So it's going to be a challenge, I can tell you that.
What's the status with Michael Howard right now? Have you guys kind of figured out what he's going to look like this year?
Yeah, Michael, he had some shoulder issues, and so that we thought that he was going to be out for the year. We've already lost, we had 2 high school arms that we lost before they ever got here, and then we lost Max Engelbrett tore his ACL, so he's out. But it looks like Michael's recovering from his he had some scope done on his shoulder, and looks like he's doing well, so we'd love to have him back. He's a guy that actually played a little bit last year, so that's looking better and better.
Obviously, last year the starting pitching rotation is so good, and you'll have some questions there. But how nice is it to have a guy like Logan, highest back behind the plate, who got, I know he's just a sophomore, but played so much last year, did such a good job kind of handling. I mean, obviously those pitchers are good, but do you feel good about having him back there just to kind of maybe solidify a little bit of that early?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Logan defensively was as good as there was last year. That in our conference, I thought he did a great job. We need another Logan Ice to step up and as a freshman and play like that somewhere on this club. But certainly with the freshmen, I think that today we were talking about how 5 freshmen will be on the mound for us, and they'll have an impact. And so, yeah, Logan's going to have to handle that staff. We also got a really good catcher in Kanoa Harrison. Dane Lund, a lot of people know Dane from around here. He's played with the Knights for a couple of years. He can catch. So, but Logan's going to have to handle that young staff and do a good job. And then Mo, he's going to have to make sure they do what they need to do, preparing the pitch. When you're a pitching coach and you got 10 or 12 arms down there, somebody has to pay attention to them besides you. And so we'll rely on Mo to take care of those guys pretty good as well.
What is your message to the freshmen, knowing that they're going to have such a big impact on the team?
Well, like I said, in the fall time, we allowed them to be freshmen, and we kind of are at that point now where we feel like, you're on the club, you're going to play, and you got to act like you're a player. And we will live with some of the mistakes, those that come from the game being the teacher, but the other things we're probably don't have the freedom to take them out and not play them because we have to replace them with another freshman. So we're just young, and like I said, today would be a day that we talk about that, and after that, it's we need to go to work.
Way early, Pat, but a kid from South Salem High School, anything about Sam Tweed, what can you say about him?
Sam's going to be real good. You know, there was a kid that we had. He reminds me of B.R. Cook a little bit from Sprague back a while ago. I mean, it's been a while, 10, 12, 15 years ago. Crazy. But Sam's good. Pitched well in the fall for us. He's got good stuff. Here again, you're talking about throwing a high school arm into the pack, and you know, he's gonna have to really be able to handle good hitters hitting good pitches, and not going to be able to just feel like I can get away with mistakes. But there's a lot of freshman arms that have thrown, and you know, we have to have those guys grow up in a hurry for us to be successful.
How's that, the meat of that lineup kind of coming together right now?
Well, depends on what we do with Jeffrey Hendricks. You know, we like him in the leadoff hole. We can certainly move him into the middle. There's other guys that can hit in the middle. This Kanoa Harrison is KJ's going to be a really good offensive player. He can hit in the middle of our order. There's some other people that I feel like offensively will come on. You know, you got a few guys that played last year and had some success. Gabe Clark had success. He can hit in the middle of the order. You know, there's just we're just going to have some people, like I said, surprise us a little bit. I think we got pretty good team speed. You know, we have Elliot Carey and Joe Gillette and you know, Trevor Morris, and those guys run. So we're going to have to be pretty good with the short game as well as defending. You know, the new baseball will have a little bit of impact on the game. I think it's going to go pretty good.
I think Jake Thompson's ready for, you know, a weekend spot this year. You've seen him kind of settling into that type of role for you?
I do. I think Jake Thompson proved last year repeatedly that if he was on a staff, you know, last year we were blessed with those three guys that had a ton of experience, and I thought the game Jake threw against Irvine, the elimination game, I thought he was outstanding. I want to say after the fifth we were ahead 1-0 or something. He's got good stuff. Jake, you know, he'll be fine. He's going to be really good. He's going to have to help us out. He's going to be one of those, you know, you look at Jake and you feel like he's got a lot of experience when you're looking at the other guys on the staff. So, you know, if you take Jake and Mo, they got a lot of time compared to everybody else.
Who are kind of the top candidates for maybe that third spot right now?
Well, you got Sam Tweet, this guy we talked about. You got Luke Heimlich, freshman kid, and those two guys. Travis Eckert could fill that role, and we're kind of going through those things right now. It'll be fun when we get scrimmage in here real quick, and we've been doing a little simulated stuff. But there appears to be you know, outside of Jake and Mo, there appears to look like there'll be a freshman in our rotation.
With Andrew and all pitching in the college series, how much does that help to have a guy like that coming back to maybe anchor at least the starting rotation?
It helps a lot. I mean, he's really good. He's you know, been there, done it all. You know, he's with USA Baseball, and he's got experience. He's just a great kid. He does it right. He's competitive. He's won at the highest level. You know, for us to do what we need to do, he's going to have a really special year. And I think he felt like that last year too. I think he was 14-1 or something as a freshman, and that's pretty good. Hopefully we get another freshman. If we get a freshman that's 14-1, I know we'll win 14 games. So.
How much have you seen Andrew kind of grow through, you know, I mean, he did have that great year, maybe last year didn't have maybe the success when Ross-wise, but how much has he kind of grown from the first day he stepped here to where he's at now, kind of being a team leader for this program?
Confidence is really something that I think that he has, but it was an inner confidence, and I don't think he felt like in his first 2 years that he had to step out and be a team leader with so many guys that were here, Wetzler in particular on the staff, Conforto and Davis and those guys, and so I felt like he was, you know, felt real comfortable in that role of just going out and silently carving you up. But I think, you know what, I think that he needs that. I think that that's maybe one of the things was missing last year was that next challenge. The freshman year was a challenge to get in there and prove that I could do this. Last year, he kind of, like I said, he got to kind of live in that world of a lot of experience. And now this year, I think he thrives on a challenge, and I think that's the challenge. You got to become a better team leader. You have to be a guy that has a voice, and I think that will help him on the mound because there's really nothing that we've asked him to take on that he hasn't taken on.
Hendricks obviously had a breakout year last year. How do you kind of see him settling into maybe a focal point of this offense?
Well, I think Jeff can be one of the best offensive players in the conference. There's a lot of things that go into that. Who's he going to hit behind? Who's going to hit in front of him? Where are we going to hit him? Like I said earlier, we'd love to leave him in the leadoff hole if we can afford to do that. Depends on what Timo does. Trevor Morrison needs to be able to hit in the front of our order. We'd like him to be up there. We just have to have some ability to get on base early. We have to have some ability to move those guys behind him. And so those things I think will play themselves out over here over the next how many days? I don't know. What do we open up on the 13th of February, something like that? Is that right? Yeah. And so, and that's the other thing. The whoever made the schedule, I'd like to talk to them because they kind of screwed that up. We got probably the most challenging schedule we've had in preseason. It's phenomenal. And then we're on the road with UCLA, on the road with Oregon, on the road with Arizona State. On the road with Stanford. So. It may be the toughest schedule in the nation, so that'll be another challenge. And so I don't have to worry about anybody going out because nobody's 21. So I mean that's a pretty good thing,
Did Jeffrey exceed your expectations those 2 years, or do you sit back and say, yeah, we know all along he'd be a bust out?
No, he exceeded my expectations. Jeffrey Hendricks is a terrific athlete, tremendous young man, and I thought that this guy would be a quality Division I player. For him to do what he did last year, that just tells you what he's capable of doing, in my opinion. I think he's going to be a terrific player. He already is a terrific player. I think he will be even a better player. Here's another guy that I think will be kind of like Mo, that challenge of being a leader. He didn't have to do that last year. And, we need some guys driving that bus, he was able to sit behind those guys and kind of enjoy that and not be the focal point. And, I always say that to guys, when the bus pulls up and everybody gets off, who they looking for? You want to be that guy. When the bus pulls up and you get off, you want them saying, hey, there's the real guy. There's Mickey Mantle, That's what you want to be. And so you got to kind of push those guys into that. They're kind of quiet and humble guys, and both Mo and Jeffrey are just really, really quality people. So I'm trying to change that. It doesn't sound bad, doesn't it? I don't want you to be a quality guy. I want you to cross the white lines and kick somebody's ass. I don't know.
Who are some of the returning guys who maybe haven't had big roles last year or the year before? Who do you think can really take on some of the leadership roles?
Well, like I said, Timo or Amo and Jeffrey Hendricks. There's no reason Logan Ice. Sometimes your position dictates what you do. Trevor Morrison's going to have a bigger voice. Caleb Hamilton will definitely be a guy that'll help lead us. There's no question about that. Caleb Hamilton will have no issue with being a guy that will be comfortable in a leadership role. And you're a much better leader when you're on the field. And so he needs to play for us, and he needs to find a way to do that. I heard, Jinx talking the other day to our infielders, and, like he said, Trevor Morrison's going to start shortstop. The rest of you guys, we need to figure that out. And so it's kind of like that, in the outfield right now. Jeffrey Hendricks is going to start in center field. The rest of you guys, you need to figure that out. To be honest with you, I don't know how many years I've coached. What is this, my 28th year of coaching? I don't know if I've ever been in a position where I can't tell you 3 weeks before the series how few guys I could tell you are going to start, position-wise. And that's a little bit concerning, but it's also a little bit exciting, It's a challenge. And it's a recipe, like I told him today, you know, it can be the recipe for disaster, or it can be the recipe for a perfect storm, you know? We'll just figure out how she goes.
But as you've always said, they determine who starts, right?
Yeah, this year, they determine who wins, too, so I'm not responsible for it, because then it takes a little pressure off me. No, I think guys make up the lineup, there's no doubt about that, and that's kind of neat, you know, that's kind of, you know, where it gets ambiguous as to whether you match up a righty with a left-handed arm or something like that, but there's good athletes in that freshman class. There are really good athletes in that freshman class. Joe Gillette, Elliott Carey, Christian Donahue, KJ. There's really, you know, good athletes. And so, you know, being a good athlete and getting on the field, you know, if you look at Jeffrey Hendricks as a freshman, he didn't play very much, and there was a lot of guys in front of him, and these guys are in a good position that they're going to have that opportunity.
When recruiting this class, was that a big selling point for you? You know, kind of looking ahead and saying you're going to potentially have an opportunity to play right away? Is that something you said?
Yeah, you know, that, and I think that if you look at the history of what we do, it's kind of funny that I can go back almost every year and see freshmen that have had a huge impact in our program. I mean, if you look at last year and you go, you know, you guys are really, really talented and you're really, really experienced, so you started 3 freshmen. You know, that's pretty good, you know. I mean, with Logan Ice coming in, and we didn't anticipate him being our #1 catcher. He was our #1 catcher. Timo, we knew had a really good shot to play shortstop for us because he did not have to be an offensive guy. He had to defend. He did a great job of that. Caleb Hamilton, you know, here's a guy that came out of nowhere and made himself a player, and then you lose Calvin Kais to a broken thumb in the middle of the year, and Caleb picked us up. So somebody will surprise us, and, you know, I think you win. I know you win baseball games when you're good on the mound, and you got to defend, and, you know, it's a situation this year where we had 17 guys drafted last year between our returners and our recruits, and 12 of them signed. So I can tell you that the people I'm looking at are not the people that I thought I'd be looking at. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, I expected these guys to be here, but I also expected a couple other guys to be here. So that's always the twist in college baseball.
With Engelbrecht, how's kind of the bullpen picking up right now?
It's interesting. You know, there's a couple guys that I like that are throwing the ball pretty good there. I mean, you know, we talked about some of those guys like Eckert and Tweet, and you know, but you got some guys that you know could really help us out. I mean, you know, there's a guy named Mitch Hickey who I really like. He's a freshman kid. I think he's going to be really good. There's some, you know, what's Trent Shelton going to do? Is he going to step up and be a guy? Flemmer, you know, those guys that were here last year that were freshmen, they got a little taste of it. What will they do? Somebody's going to be forced to pitch. You know, somebody's going to get the baseball. Mac Fox, you know, if he gets healthy and able to give us innings, he could do it. Zach Reeser's a guy that's, you know, he's been a little bit tweaked with a foot or something, and he hasn't been able to throw lately, but you know, there's a guy that's got a great arm that pitched in some big situations for us last year, and we need him to step up. There's another guy that needs to really help us out because he has a good arm and he can do it. He's a guy that also needs to be a leader. He's a senior guy, and we're glad Zach's back. I think he could be a big part of our staff.
Pat, the decision to go turf everywhere, just in terms of your own thinking, there was a time when even you wanted to keep the natural grass and you felt it had an advantage for you in that 06 era, right around there. But here we are now going to turf everywhere. Just how has your thinking evolved on that through the years?
Well, what I did was I talked to God and I said, God, are you going to change the weather patterns in the Northwest? And he said, absolutely not. So I figured it's going to continue to rain. And so that had everything to do with it. I mean, I love grass field. I love dirt infields. I love it. But you just cannot keep up with what you want to do practice-wise without turf. And every college now in the Northwest, all Division I schools now are full turf. So, you know, it's just hard whether you have summer camps, whether you have summer baseball, we have a team playing there, the wear and tear on the field. And then you go out, you know, you go out and you play a game, as you guys well know, and there's a chance it might rain in the spring. And so you're sitting there and you're going, okay, do we start the game? The outfield's wet, the guy umpire goes out and checks. You know, there's no issue now. It's either raining too hard to play and we can't play, or it's you know, we're turf. So I think it's really going to help. It's going to help in the fall time when you go out there and you're trying to play an inter-squad game and you got some dew on the ground and you're trying to wait. It's just going to be really good. It'll be a clean look. The new addition to the ballpark is really going to be something. I mean, I was walking through the new locker room, and it's really going to be special, and it's going to be exciting.